Okay, what we're looking then is that at the first body paragraph as we move from this introduction down to the very first body paragraph. So, let's look first at the topic sentence. Lady Macbeth begins formulating her plan by analysing Macbeth's nature through a rhetorical argument in her monologue. Remember this combination of sense and style. So the element of style that we're talking about here, the writer's choice, what Shakespeare deliberately does with language, style and structure, here is the rhetorical argument in her monologue. That's the style that Shakespeare uses in his writing to create this particular meaning, that Lady Macbeth is formulating a plan by analysing Macbeth's nature. So remember, like we did in the discursive essay, those topic sentences have that two-part structure, which here combines writer's choice, the rhetorical argument in her monologue, and then style and meaning. Lady Macbeth's formulation of her plan by analysing Macbeth's nature. So every single topic sentence has to have that combination. And this paragraph, remember, is about the opening section that you've identified in the annotations of the extract. So, we move on. Initially, she opens the monologue by reflecting on Macbeth's current and future status. We would call this is an active orienter phrase built around the verb reflecting, dealing with the writer or character. So if you've watched the embedded quotation videos, what we've got here is an orienter phrase that is taking Lady Macbeth as the subject and using the active verb reflecting to later on embed this quotation, "Glamis thou art and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised," into the sentence. So you've got an orienter phrase, remember, is what we mean by narrative context. It's a brief description of what the character in question is doing at that moment in time. She opens the monologue by reflecting on Macbeth's current and future status. "Glamis thou art and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised." Then you see the embedded quotation after the colon. So this was one of the methods that we talked about in the embedded quotation examples. You can use a colon here with an argumentative sentence that comes beforehand. There are a number of different ways to do that when you're essay writing. Then you have the analysis of that embedded quotation that does two things. It uses technical terminology, tricolon in this case, and comments on the significance and implied meaning of that technique. So her use of tricolon in these lines, "Glamis thou art," 1, "and Cawdor," 2, "and shalt be what thou art promised." It's 3 clauses in this particular sentence that gives this a sense of certainty. So here emphasizes the certainty and conviction she possesses when considering Macbeth's future power. So this is showing us her confident belief in Macbeth's destiny right at the beginning of the extract. Then, with a discourse marker, however, shows us a change in idea. We're moving to a different point here. We're moving to our second idea. However, then, this initial certainty gives way to a sense of doubt when Lady Macbeth reflects upon Macbeth's moral nature. Now, what we're doing here is really not that different from a second topic sentence. We're giving us another interpretation statement about the second detail that we're going to talk about, too full of the milk of human kindness. But what this does is it draws the two details together. The initial certainty in the one above is contrasted with the uncertainty that is seen in this metaphor. So this is an important thing to remember to do when you're including multiple details. Don't just shove them in with no introduction or explanation about how they connect to each other. The connection here is that the opening certainty changes to a sense of doubt in the second detail. Then again, an orienter phrase. She is concerned that he is too full of the milk of human kindness. Remember this. Subject to the sentence. She, verb, is concerned that he is too full of the milk of human kindness. So we've got a full verb phrase here, and then an object noun phrase here of human kindness. So that orienter phrase, again, is built around either the character or writer. The character is concerned that, or the character shows us that. The writer reveals, the writer emphasizes the sense of when he describes. Those types of phrases that are focused around either a writer or a character from the story that is actively doing something will help you embed these quotations. So we have the embedded quote again, and then the analysis, which is here. This metaphor comparing Macbeth's conscience to milk creates a sense of his purity and innocence, especially when considering the colour symbolism of whiteness. So the analysis, again, uses technical terminology and comments on the implied meaning and significance of this. that comparing his conscience to milk creates a sense of his purity and innocence, especially when considering the cumber symbolism of whiteness. Then, we have another detail connection. It develops by describing how the second detail connects to the third, which is what we have here. She develops this uncertainty when considering the tensions between his morality and his ambition. So we have, again, another sentence that stitches those two details together, that this uncertainty is developed. Following this, there's another oriental phrase here. She claims that what thou wouldst highly, that wouldst thou holily. This is that line that we talked about a lot in the class that lots of you found difficult to explain. And the paralleling between. So here, what you've got here, the oriental phrase in the second case is built around a quote. The paralleling between high and holy behavior, and then we move into the analysis. Draws attention to the tension that she believes exists between moral behavior and ambition. So there, again, the analysis comments on the implied meaning of that particular technical feature. Here. Then we move on to the next point. This tension is developed into a sense of hypocrisy through her use of antithesis when assessing Macbeth's character and nature. Now this is slightly different. It's developing the point here by talking about the technical language within the first sentence. This tension is developed into a sense of hypocrisy through a use of antithesis when assessing Macbeth's character and nature. Again, active verb, claiming that he would not play false and yet would wrongly win. So that quote is embedded again in this active verb phrase that allows us to do that. Then we move on again to the analysis. It breaks the quote down by using single word embedded quotes. The contradiction between not playing false and being willing to wrongly win almost gives Macbeth a sense of hypocrisy. So we're saying that the tension between these two words or phrases is ultimately what she believes is showing his hypocrisy. So this is, again, when you've got a quote like this, break it down again in the next line and weave those short quotations into the analysis. Then we have the final section. However, Lady Macbeth ends this opening section by resolving to pour her spirits into his ear. Again, we have that final point by developing the connection between the final detail and the previous one. Lady Macbeth ends this opening section by resolving to, again, you'll notice the grammar, subject, verb phrases, quotation, pour her spirits into his ear. The metaphor here, comparing her manipulative ideas to some physical poison or evil spirit, shows the strong awareness that she possesses about the evil nature of her intentions. So you've got there that final analysis commenting on the implied meaning. Now, what I want you to do is make sure that you have brief note form versions of those annotations that you can see on the side in this paragraph. Then what I want you to try and do is take a look at this second paragraph and you're looking for all of these details. So in the second paragraph, you're trying to find examples of the topic sentence, combining writer's choice and style, oriented phrases before quotations, the use of embedded quotes, and then analysis that uses technical terminology, and then comments on the significance and implied meaning. Then phrases that connect the first and second details together. And those are all of the features of the successful analytical paragraph. Topic sentences, combining sense and style. Oriented phrases before quotes are used to allow you to then use embedded quotations. And then analysis that uses technical terminology. And then secondly, comments on the significance and implied meaning. Finally, discourse markers showing changes in ideas, and then sentences that stitch the two details of a paragraph together. Those are all of the features that you're looking for in this second paragraph. Okay, so pause the video at this point, take a look at each of those details in this particular paragraph.